Hi, this is Rob from Grappling Hook. Are you developing your next cannabis project strategy? Let's talk about the importance of using facts and observations. All right. So first of all, let's start with the who. Who are you doing this with? If you haven't already picked this up from my other videos, then you're going to see that I fully believe in the importance of utilizing your team, client team, stakeholder teams. And when I say stakeholders, I mean this could be users, it can be funders, it could be people you do your research on, it could be someone who's commissioned you, anyone who's involved or touched by your project. Okay? So, what? Let's see. So, what are facts and observations? It's what they are. It's things that you see, behavior, things that you know. All right, things that you know, like you know that the sun is hot, and you know that Chicago can be cold. Facts and observations. All right. So moving on. When do you utilize this? Well, whenever you're working on a project, there's things you know. And things you know that are important for each stage of the project. So, think of it. You go back to what we talked about in the past about building your journey for your project. Then you think about it in each one of those steps. What do you know in regards to each step? Right? So it's like, what do you know in regards to each chunk of your project? So when do you use this? Well, you already know things that are going on. You talk about it with people, but actually recording and writing down the observations, the things that you know, and putting it in through each chunk of your service journey, each step along the way. What do you know? What are these known quantities that are going to weave into your equation that's your strategy? As we think about the project and what the project's trying to achieve. So, where do you put it? I put it in the service blueprint. That way I can reference it whenever I need it. I can change it if it needs to change. It's easy. Okay? You can do this utilizing a Google Doc. I use RealTime Docs. It's called RealTime Board. You can check it out. I utilize it, but they're not paying me for this yet. So, you can do this in Google Docs. Just Google Docs is kind of funky to use for it. Especially if you're doing it as a workshop and you're just collecting insights from people really quickly. Google Docs can be a little bit weird, it's not as easy on the eyes. You don't set it up, it doesn't look as nice. So as I continue, why? Why are you considering these facts and observations, and why are you writing them down? Well, for one thing, this is going to provide you with the support you need when making decisions. If you're writing any kind of proposal, you're going to need to have these to present to people, and for those people to have a little faith behind what you're presenting, you're going to need to present them with the figures, the known quantities. That's just part of it, right? So having them all recorded into one spot makes your life a lot easier. So, or then taking the time to put them into one spot, and then you can reference it. It is time. It is. If you're shooting from the hip, well, you can do this, set it up, and if you use it, you're going to run a little bit smoother. All right? I'm all for shooting from the hip. Trust me on this. With the hip throw. So, going back to what I was saying. How do you do it? Well, have a roundup with your team. Get some users in there, some potential users, funders, anyone you can get in. Have some drinks, have some snacks, and ask questions. Think about each chunk of that journey. Set up rules, make it a game, okay? There's rules, That way people don't make it all about themselves and tell long stories that just end up not really getting you as far along as you need to. So consider all that. In fact, there's a whole, you can check out a book called Game Storming, that'll help. Record these in your blueprint. Weave them into your strategy. So that way you know what you're doing. You know what's going on already. And going back to transparency, it makes it easier to share it with people so that they understand why you're making these decisions. And you get a little more onboarding, a little more support. Things run a little bit smoother. And when you say something and don't write it down, it evolves. It's like playing the game Post Office when you were a kid, right? You've worked on teams where that's not healthy for your team. You're not going to get things done nearly as quickly or as smoothly. So that's part of the how and the why. All right. This is Rob from Grappling Hook, getting you to think about the importance of facts and observations as you develop project strategy for your cannabis business. All right. Good night.